Investing in comic books. It's the best type of collectible to possibly get involved with. Terry Hoknes has put together a huge line of series of books that focuses on one specific title or genre, era, or comic book publisher. This is just a sample of some of the books in the series, and each book has a specific theme. It's clearly laid out on the title. The first book here we see Investing in Comic Books, Atlas and Marvel Horror Comics. So this looks at all the main valuable and key issues from Atlas from the 1950s and Marvel into the Bronze Age of the 70s, with a main focus on 50s books, of course, because that's where the most valuable books are. Each book is laid out with all the information needed to focus on any specific key books. Each book starts with a market report, and then we also break down using the Overstreet Price guide over many numerous years, so we get some samples of how prices have increased over time. And the books all include the newest Overstreet Price guide information, so you are up to date. After that, some of our books have some history or chronological order information on series or publishers. And then we branch into information such as the key issues. And each book focuses on roughly 30 of the key issues or most valuable issues from a particular series. And so here you will find information such as main information about a particular book, publisher, issue number, the artists or writers that worked on it. We also look into how many copies are CGC graded and how many have been given a high grade. Plus we look at also samples from the best sales through heritage auctions. We have samples of Overstreet Price guides in all 6 grades, and then we have the complete CGC census for each book. So that just gives you a quick sample of the kind of information that you will find in our books. And so just going through some of our samples today, we're just looking at a few. Here's one on Astonishing, which is another Atlas comic series from the 50s. Of course, Batman has been running continuously since 1940. Here we look at many of the earliest key issues from the Golden Age. And lots of information, of course, lots of sample sales. We also venture into the Silver Age and a little bit into the Bronze Age. Doctor Strange is one example here. Here we have one of our specialty books, DC and Atlas Comics, the Atomic Age, where we focus on all the key issues from the 2 main collected publishers. And we give you a breakdown again, looking at all the trends and price changes over time, and many key issues. So if you're a fan of any particular series, you can get a book focused specifically on that. Or if you just want to branch into comic book history in general, we have a huge line of books to check out. Here's one on the John Wayne Adventure Comics series, which is the most popular series ever published by Toby Comics, starting in 1949. Here's one that looks at history of Strange Tales, which is an Atlas title that became a superhero title in the 60s for Marvel. And another Atlas horror title, Uncanny Tales. And then one here where we focus on all the key issues from Timely Comics from the 1940s. And we see many, of course, the most valuable comics of all time in this one. Again, the books start off with market reports, talk about trends that have changed over the years. A huge breakdown of prices over the years for the key books. Here we even have a history of Timely Comics and a chronological history of all the titles that they published before we break down into the 30 key most valuable issues from Timely Comics. And again, lots of sample sales from Heritage. We've got cover images for every single book. We've got data from CGC census up to date and all the Overstreet prices. And of course, for samples, we have different years samples to give you an idea of how the book has been moving in all conditions. So these are just a sample of some of our books, and we are working on a line basically of a book for every single popular title from the Golden and Silver Age that you can think of. So this is just a sample here. I thought I would show you 9 different ones. And of course, the majority of our information is pulled from the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide, which is published annually since 1970. So we pull information from many numerous years to give you an idea with the best accurate information how it's been changing over the years.